back. So we have two options when we actually need to kind of upload this file to Firebase, and we've already worked with these options right here. Now we could pick option one, where we pretty much start out by uploading the actual file, right? The actual file that I pick, I'm going to upload that one. And then step two would be kind of with a switch map or some kind of observable. I would go and then I would upload the metadata for the file. I'll create the file in the database, and then step three would be kind of to upload the folder information with that new unique ID that I would get from the actual file, right? So that could be a way to do it. Now I would have a switch map that would kind of call three different events, right? So for step one, upload the file and the metadata, and then just set up the information in the folder about that metadata and file. Now that's a good solution. It's a solution worth doing, but you could also try and challenge yourself a bit, and that's what I'm going to do this lesson and the next couple of lessons by using Firebase Functions. Because I would kind of say that inside the uploaded file we have enough information to let Firebase take care of creating the files for us, right? The database file for us. And it could also create the folder information for us after we kind of upload the file. So that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and figure out how we can actually, with a single command right here, we should be able to maybe have enough information to actually create and work with creating both the file in Firebase and also the information for the folders and the files in the database with a single call. Let's see if that can happen. So step one is, of course, to start working with functions in Firebase. And we want to go into Typescript functions for Firebase. So we want to write some Typescript code, we want to upload to Firebase, and then Firebase can do some actions for us so we don't have to do everything in the client side, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try and work with these functions. Now, think of functions as a way for us to kind of put some logic on the back end, right? We have a backend as a service, but we want to kind of do some extra logic on the back end. We don't want to work with all logic on the front end. Maybe you might have some validations, you might have some information you want to work with on the backend system. That's a normal use case. The backend should take care of maybe validating that an email is available or whatever the backend want to take care of for you, right? And that's where Cloud Functions make sense. So we're going to try and start out with just implementing this Cloud Functions right here in our system. Now we do that by following a guide. So I pretty much just go into, let's just start from the scratch right here. I'm jumping into Firebase Google Com, I'm going into Docs, I'm going into Guides, I'm going to scroll down into Cloud Functions, and there's of course introduction about Cloud Functions. You can try and go and read that if you want to really dive into what Cloud Functions is all about. But I'm going to jump down to writing functions and writing functions in Typescript. That's how simple it is. And then we want to kind of initialize Firebase Functions right here. That's where we want to start. So let's just try and jump into the code right here, and I'm going to start out by just making sure that I have the Firebase tools available. So I just want to run an npm install g Firebase tools. So if you have Firebase tools available already, I'll just update them for you, and if it's not there, you'll just get those tools in there. And it's the same tools that we used for uploading our application the first time, and also for kind of working with the database, right? So now I try to update to a new package, so that's perfect. Let's just clear that out. Jumping back to our example right here, it says the next thing is you want to init, use the Firebase tools. This is a Firebase tool command. I want to init functions. So I'll just run this command right here to say that now I want to start working with functions. Now it's important you're inside your root folder when you do this. So just be inside that folder, and then it'll start asking me a few questions right here, like, do you want to use JavaScript or TypeScript? I want to use TypeScript. It also asks, do you want to use lint to kind of help you write good code? And it defaults to yes, and I'll just keep that default. And then right here it'll create some information for me, and then it asks, do you want to use npm to download your packages? Because let me just try and show you, these functions will actually be its own standalone folder right here with its own package.json file, with its own tslint file. So it's actually a running project on its own. That's very important to know. So yes, let's just run these npm install for that one as well. That's all we have to do. Now Firebase Functions is available locally. Of course, we haven't put anything on the server yet. We'll do that in the next couple of lessons. But now you have Firebase up and running with functions actually. And we have the code ready to use locally right here. And all it pretty much generates for us is a very basic index file right here, where we can start writing some code next lesson. So that whenever something happens on Firebase, we can listen for changes and we can do something on those changes when they occur, right? So maybe in my case, when I upload a file, I want to also create something in the database. That's what we're going to try at least. Don't worry, we'll do it step by step, but now we kind of have access point inside our local code that we can start pushing to Firebase in the next lessons. So see you next time, where this will start making more sense, hopefully. Now you know that functions are out there, you know where to find the information about functions, and we're going to try and play around with this later. Have fun.